NAMM 2020. I'm here on the booth of 4MS, and I'm here with the CEO or the developer, Dan. How are you?
Hi, doing good.
Are you not yet tired of the first day? Is it?
Well, I showed up tired, but I'm in my best. So.
4MS is a company from US or?
Yeah, we're in Portland, Oregon, in the U.S., and we're 8 people, I think, right now. Yeah.
And you have quite a different background. You're coming from the pedal side, yeah, from the guitar pedal side.
Yeah. Up until recently, we were still making guitar pedals. Originally, we had making guitar pedals, but keep in mind, not much has changed. They were always on the more experimental, kind of weirder type things. Lots of knobs and flashing lights has always been part of 4MS.
It's the same business. And, the guitar guys want always more and more and more pedals. The synth people want more and more modules.
Yeah.
I think for you it's the same business. Making pedals or now modules.
Yeah, I mean the modules. It's more fun for me because there's so many more interconnections you can do, and that was always a thing I wanted with the pedals, but there just wasn't any like platform for that. So seeing, modular really kind of fits more of what we were trying to do originally.
And what's your background? Is that your first company for MS, or you worked for other music companies already? So what is your background?
Yeah, I started 4MS. Actually, it was called 3MS when I was in high school still. So it was hardly an official company when I started. It was more of a full-time hobby, and but eventually became a real company in 2002. We incorporated and did all the that stuff. But so yeah, it was my first company. But and it's just been making musical instruments this whole time. So I went to school a little bit, but that's not really where I drew any inspiration from for making, for the engineering that's involved, and for the the software and the firmware and the hardware and the circuit design and everything are just things that I learned along the way. And you can see my designs got more and more complex as I learned things, going from being a 16-year-old kind of messing around in the basement to now we have some like higher end devices.
You are the designer of the modules, right? You are the main designer.
Yeah, I'm the lead designer. We have a couple other people in the office that do some. We have some hardware, and then like for instance, our latest module, we collaborated with a software engineer, Matthias Quesch, who also kind of invented the idea for the whole module as well. So we collaborate with people too, and we've had software engineers work for us too, also. So, but yeah, I've been the main.
What was for you the most important part of a module? So is it more the sound or more the aesthetics? How do you use it, or what is for you so important for when you're designing a new module?
Well, I guess, there's a lot of important things, but it has to solve a problem. Like there has to be a reason for it to exist, and for me, it has to be a real compelling reason to like work on it, because I tend to revise, and like really try and get the thing to be perfect and really refine it until it's just not bugging me about anything anymore. And it's really, and for something to survive that process, it has to really be unique and not easily solved in any other way. So it has to do something that I really want to do, and that I know other people probably really want to do this too. And there's not really any easy way to do this. Sometimes you don't know what it can. Sometimes you start off trying to fix one problem, and then you end up finding it can do all these other things, and you realize your problem was really kind of narrow-minded, and really there was a much bigger field that could be opened up here.
And I saw you from your product side. You have a lot of digital side, digital modules. Are you more of the digital side, interested, or more also analog? So,
to me, those are just two, or not. it's just tools to solve problems with. It's not a matter of how like it's gonna, whether it's a digital oscillator or an analog oscillator, like they do different things. And if you look at our digital modules, you'd be insane to try and do that in an analog way. It'd just be so much work, and it wouldn't be as nice and controllable. So we're not, in our analog things, it'd be kind of silly to do in a digital way. Like, so we have, like a VCA matrix, for instance, like doing that digitally would be like, wow, that'd be a lot of processing power. It's so easy to do analog. We have a new thing out, a percussion interface too, which takes, audio and take gates and triggers and envelopes from that. And you can do it digitally, but it would really be like a big module. And this is like designed to be a small, simple module that you can have a whole bunch of, because percussionists often you want to have a lot of different things to hit. So
for you, it's more. The digital playground is far bigger and more easier to make your dreams possible.
Sometimes sometimes the analog is way easier, and often like there's a mix between, because like a digital module, like you might be called, oh, this is a DSP digital module, but like it's full of analog circuitry, and if you don't know how to design analog circuitry, your CV jacks are going to be noisy, and it's going to like have power supply noise, and it's going to have all these issues. It's not going to track well and things like this. So they're all analog circuits too. Some also have firmware on them, some don't. Sometimes we've even considered on some of the analog stuff, why don't we just put a little bit of firmware here and just to like fix this one part? We haven't done that yet, but I don't have like a clear, like it has to be all analog or it has to be all digital thing. Like if it works well and it's like practical to make, and then whatever chips you need to use, do it.
Are you for new modules now, because you have now the Ensemble Oscillator and some others? Are you researching on the market what is missing, or more are you checking more your customers what they're wishing? So what do you tend more to give the customers their wishes, or?
Well, I hope we're giving our customers their wishes,
yeah.
But all of our things start from an idea that somebody has that wants to make. So it's like often me, but like the two new things we have, our hardware designer, Zach, who works for us, had that idea. It was a thing that he had been patching, the percussion interface I'm talking about. He had been patching on his own with a lot of different modules, and it's never quite perfect, and he thought, like, why don't I just make a circuit to do this? And we said, that's a great module idea, let's do it. So it started with like, a thing that he wants to do that's hard to do, but it'd be easy if we just made it to one module. The Ensemble Oscillator, a lot of the inspiration that came from it, from Matthias, who came up with the whole idea for it, comes from this kind of acoustic psychological phenomenon of like when you hear a bunch of notes played at the same time, it could be a chord, right? But also, if it can also be a waveform, because any waveform, like it can be generated from a bunch of different sine waves all played at the same time at different frequencies and different phases, and you can generate any waveform like that. But a bunch of sine waves played at the same time is a chord also. So it operates in this gray area, and there's been academic research and papers and then a lot of experimental musicians since like the 60s and talking about this, but there's never been, as far as I know, a piece of hardware where you can turn knobs to do this.
Yeah. It's maybe a strange question, but what brings Matthias Puesch to your company or to you as developer? Are these ideas or?
Yeah, the ideas. I don't remember how he exactly, but yeah, he's talked to me about some of his ideas, and I thought these are great ideas. I'd love to see them, and we of course we've been producing hardware that can run a DSP engine, and we're set up for all that. So I was able to give him one of our other modules that he could reprogram with his own algorithms on it to play around to kind of test out, like, is this a workable thing or not? And then, from there, like, so we start sharing and working together, and then
That's maybe a cool new module for the future, like a module where you can plug in your algorithms.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and if you're into software engineering, you can actually do this. Our source code's on GitHub, and you could download it, make your modifications, find the audio loop, and write your own algorithms. You want it there, the SMR, the DLD, the Swan, it's all there. So, but it's not simple like draw a picture of an LFO and drag it to a VCO. It's not like that. It's more like it's your coding in C or C++.
And I think modular has arrived on this point where the standard analog or standard we go far away from this traditional sawtooth triangle wave, but to the really interesting digital modules. We arrived in this really interesting time.
Yeah. The options we have as hardware designers is getting like way better. Like it's great. So.
And I think when the technology goes further, we have a lot of cool new modules coming in the future. So I saw you are not only making modules, but you're holding amazing cases, which I really love the idea of it. Where did you come up of this idea to making such little cases or pods?
The pods just came out again. It's like a necessity of like, I wish I just had a small little case that I could put one or two modules in, especially when I'm like testing modules. Just having a little lightweight thing that I can move around. I could, rather than have to unscrew everything, unplug, take it to the other room, plug it in, because we have systems around the shop and all over the place.
But these are not fixed to one input, I think. I see here there are two power supplies on it.
Yeah.
So you can feed it with quite powerful modules, right?
Yeah. All our modules fit in these, and then you can daisy chain the power, so you also don't have to carry around a bunch of bricks. It used to be we had these huge heavy cases, and it's like this big bag, and your shoulder's sore by the time you get to where you're going. And so now this is like there's light. You can pick them up. It's hardly anything.
But the condition would be probably the modules must be thin.
No, not anymore. Oh, that was just the original pods. The ones we make now, you can see like here's a pod 32. They're over 2 inches deep, and there's hardly any modules that won't fit into that. And the depth goes all the way down. There's no power headers there. The power headers on the back. That did happen. The very original pods that we came out with, they're thin because all our modules are thin. And we went on modular grid and we checked, and we're like, most of the popular modules are really thin. So we said, let's do this. It's a nice form factor. It feels good. But of course, right away people said, hey, my XYZ module won't fit. And we're like, okay. So we came out with thicker ones. So now everybody's happy. So
cool. We are here in the wonderful, loud NAMM. I'm always at Super Booth. Why? But we are at NAMM, and you have a new module.
Yeah.
And it's called Ensemble
Oscillator. Yeah.
Ensemble. Where comes the idea? Is it do you have the sound or?
Yeah, the idea of it's somewhat of a bilingual pun, but the idea of it being an ensemble, like a group of musicians playing together, and also ensemble in French, like together. So it's, and I guess I alluded to this earlier, it's a group of notes played at the same time is a chord, or it could also be a waveform. If they're harmonically, if the harmonic of them are tuned in a certain way, and this allows you to give an arbitrary tuning to a scale or to a set of harmonics, and then play waveforms for that. So I know we're hearing a bunch of modulation here, but. can FM them with each other, which is really interesting when you have a bunch of harmonically linked things and you apply a FM with. Different wavefolding and distortion.
Very music thing in mind, because you have installed some scales, so you want to put it on for the live stage or live performances, or
yeah, and again, like you can program a scale in with a keyboard or something, or you can also program notes in individually, like that. But you can also think of it like harmonics, so you can use it to kind of make various, complex waveforms that kind of evolve as the phase shifts around and things like that too.
Okay. And you think it goes in the direction of more West Coastish or East Coastish or something between?
Yeah, I can't see it really in that dichotomy, because it's playing off of ideas that were around before there was a West Coast, East Coast thing. It predates all of that. Depending on how you use it, of course, you could make some 4-on-the-floor techno with this pretty easily. You could make some experimental weird stuff, which, like you just heard me doing, pretty easily. So there's no filter or VCA built into it. It's an oscillator. So it, depending on how you configure it, I guess you could do it whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Price point is, or when it will be available worldwide?
It's $299 US, and it's available in April, on the 20th of April.
Okay. Thank you. I wish you a good NAMM show.
Thanks. Yeah.
And good luck with your new module.
Thank you.
Big thanks for watching, and see you soon in one of the next videos. Bye.